Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Exclusive with Mpogi Thompson here on The Citizen Digital. Today's episode, we have a very special guest. He's an African investor, a philanthropist, but also he is known as the president of Simba Sports Club, one of the biggest clubs here in Africa. Mohammed Dewji, welcome to The Citizen Exclusive.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Today's conversation, we are going to talk about Mo Dewji's philanthropic initiatives. He's one of Africa's leading investors. He has a big, wide-ranging portfolio of investments. However, the focus today is going to be on two particular areas: his investment in sports, but also the Mo Foundation. Now, let's start with sports. You have invested quite massively over the years. And this year, we are celebrating a very unique milestone for Simba. It is known as one of the biggest clubs, not just in Tanzania, but in Africa. Can you just tell us, what do 90 years of Simba mean to you as an investor, but most importantly, as also a fan of the sports club?
So first and foremost, that Simba turning 90 reflects a lot of rich history for the club itself, for our country, and it kind of reignites our unity as a club to get together and celebrate these beautiful milestones, to reflect on where we have come from, where we are, and what is our next 10-year vision. By the time we reach 100 years, what is it that we want to achieve? So it's a big moment for the club. It's a big moment for the leadership of the club, and a big moment for the fans. And my small history with the club, since I was very, very young, and I grew up in Singida, central Tanzania, I developed love for Simba at a very young age. And at that time, there was not much television. We used to listen to the radio and listen to Simba games in the radio, and knew of all the players that participated. And the following started at a very, very young age. And I continued following the club, and when I moved to Arusha, where I did my primary education, is when for the first time I got a chance to go to the stadium and to watch the Simba game, and that only increased my love and passion for the club. If you were to ask me now which is the club that I like globally, or I have many a times been questioned, which is an English Premier League club that you like? The honest answer is that I do not like any Premier League English club, because I feel that I do not relate to the English Premier League. I relate to the Tanzania Premier League. I relate my history, my life to Simba, and thus, I love Simba.
Okay, so you love Simba to the extent where you decided to invest. Can you tell us about now that big decision? Because we understand that sports, especially in growing markets such as Tanzania, is not seen or viewed as a business venture that a billionaire such as yourself would be willing to invest. We've heard of talks like Aliko Dangote wanting to buy Arsenal, and then he gave his reasons for choosing to invest in other areas. You are East Africa's only dollar billionaire, according to Forbes. You decided to invest in sports. What made you decide to take that step?
Yeah, so first and foremost, it was the love for the club. It had nothing to do with business. It was a passion project. When I graduated from Georgetown University in 1998, I came back, and I like to gain success in whatever I do. And I always had a question mark. around why clubs in Tanzania do not do well in Africa competitions like the Africa Champions League. So in 1998, when I got back, I said, let me start supporting them with the sponsorship. So if you see 1999, 2000, 2001, Simba Sports Club's main sponsor used to be METL. And in the early 2000s, I started concentrating and focusing and investing more outside my sponsorship. And we participated in the Africa Champions League. At that time, we did not have a good seeding, so we had to play a preliminary round. And then we played the South African champions. And then we ended up playing the 5-time Africa champions, which was Zamalek.
Yes.
And when we played them in Dar es Salaam, I remember we won 1-0. Emmanuel Gabriel had scored that one goal. And then that took us back to Cairo. When we went to Cairo, it was a very, very difficult game. It was a one-sided game. 90 minutes, Simba was attacked. And finally, I think in the 80th minute, Zamalek got a goal. And so when the game finished, it was 1-1, and we got into penalties. And with the grace of God, we won those penalties, and we made a big upset in Africa. And when we came to Tanzania, there was 200,000 people that came to collect us at the airport. So you could see the love, the passion of Tanzanians towards football, and in specific towards Simba. That was there. The only problem was that why were we not doing well? So that's why I don't fuss around winning local leagues. I'm not saying that is not important, but Simba and Yanga have been winning local leagues for years.
Yes.
They've won each more than 20 or 25 or 30 times. But that doesn't say much. The question is that in history, Tanzanian clubs have always been knocked out at preliminary rounds, first rounds from the Africa Champions League. And thus, what prompted me to invest, and that's my answer, is when I was sitting with then the president of Zamalek, and I asked him what his budgets were. And then I was making a comparison of what our budgets was. Our budget was 1% of what their budget was. So if they were spending $1 million, we were spending 1% of that. So when I came back, I had a meeting and I told them, look, guys, it's like competing with a guy who has got a Mercedes-Benz, and then you are driving a Volkswagen, and you can have the best driver you can, but you cannot compete with him because his car is much faster and better. And therefore, we cannot continue this club in the current structure. So I gave an interview and I told them that, guys, 2001, I said that, look, I only want to be associated with the club if I can make sure that we have a chance of doing very well at international level. Otherwise, I'm not interested. And at that time, there was a lot of politics, and they said, Simba commercialization, this is not possible. And I walked away, and I went and ran for parliament. I became a member of parliament.
Absolutely. And now you came back to Simba, you're part and parcel of the club's growth. However, in 2026, Simba or any other Tanzanian club is yet to win continental silverware. We've come quite close, and the good thing is that whenever the big clubs from Tanzania are representing us at the continental level, they get the overall support of everyone. We've come quite close, but you've invested heavily, and would be keen to know how much you've invested so far, but we are yet to see continental glory. What is that missing link? You identified investment as part of the missing link. You have invested, but we haven't yet crossed that finish line. What might be the reason?
So first and foremost, I think it's very important to take note that what prompted me to come back in 2015, I had an interview with Salama Jabi, and she started talking about Simba 2015, and I said, look, the current budget is 1 billion and I can do A, B, C, D to take this budget up to 10 billion, and we can buy better players, get better coaches, invest in infrastructure, but the structure has to change. So my interview caught fire, and Simba started saying, no, we're ready to change. So the process of change started in 2018. Now, when you look at 2025, 26, I remember 2017, the club was not even ranked in the top 100 in Africa. Today, fast forward 10 years, depending on what year, but we've been ranked from number 5 to number 10. We're in the top 10 clubs in Africa, in a continent where you have 1.3 billion people, right? And everybody loves football. So the progress has been there, point number one. Point number two, what have we done in the last 7-8 years? We have consistently competed at the highest level with the biggest clubs. We have won against the biggest clubs, the likes of Al Ahly, the likes of, bigger clubs from Sudan and from South Africa, Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates, and have made a mark that we can consistently not only participate, but I think we have reached 7 quarterfinals of the Champions League. This is historical.
It is.
Point number one. And reached the finals of the CAF Confederation Cup.
Yes.
Basically, football needs money, my friend. Football requires tons of investment. And I'll tell you something, in the last 8-9 years, I have invested over 100 billion Tanzanian shillings. So, with no return in terms of value for money, right?
Okay. Because you say it's a passion project.
Yeah. So it is because I feel by investing, I feel that I'm creating happiness to a lot of Tanzanians. So it's a way of giving back. Of course, yes, Simba advertises my products, etc., etc. But the project is to make sure that we reach our goal is to finish the transformation, which has taken very long. The transformation of Simba is not yet complete. This transformation was one of its kind. There is no club in Africa that has transformed commercially from a members club to a JV with the investor. So while the transformation is continuing and we're at the tail end of it, we hope once that is complete, then I believe that we can create a new vision for the next 10 years. And the vision for us is simple. We need to win the Africa Champions League. Okay. And to do that, what do we need? We need to invest in infrastructure. You cannot have a 90-year-old club that do not have a training pitch. So I actually have spoken to the trustees of Simba and have told them that I want to invest 30 Tanzanian billion shillings to invest in an infrastructure project in Bunju, where I will build a youth academy, 14 and under, 16 and under, 18 and under. At the same time, build infrastructure for the men's team to train on natural pitch and artificial pitch, to create a small stadium where we can play friendly games, but also create infrastructure for the youth and Simba Queens. Now they will have a full hostel, they will have mental toughness, they will have recovery, they'll have a swimming pool, they will have a gymnasium. So you need to give them a number one fantastic infrastructure, and you need to bring capacity. Today, see, if you see Simba and other clubs, you will see most of these players are being bought from other countries in Africa. What we want to do, our vision is to create our own players over the long run.
Yeah, now you're talking about continental glory. Now let's focus on the local league first. Yes. It's been, I think, 5 years since Simba last won the domestic league. Now this brings into focus the rivalry between Simba and Yanga.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that? Because there is the on-pitch rivalry, but also off-the-pitch rivalry. Does the focus on continental glory come at the cost of Simba losing ground locally? Because 5 years is quite a long time. What can you say about the rivalry that you have with Yanga and not winning the league?
So I think first, the rivalry is good. You know, I mean, it's important to have competition so that you can excel. When the transformation started, I was the chair of the board. I ran the board for 4 years. We won the league 4 years in a row, right? After that, I decided that I do not live in Tanzania and that I needed to set up a team. So I set up a team. There's a board where I appoint board members, and then the members elect some board members, and I appointed the chair. When I did appoint the chair, they tried to run with the club. Things didn't go as well from a local club's point of view, and we did not win the league for 3 years. As a matter of fact, 1 year it was so bad that we didn't even make it to the Champions League. We came third. So I had to change that board. Now, I came in temporarily last year. Last year, I believe we had a good season. I think we lost the game against Yanga, the final game that has made us lose the league. And we lost the finals against Barken for us to lose the CAF Confederation Cup. But now we have a new chair, we have new board members. I think we are very focused, and I'm confident that local glory will come back to Simba very soon.
Okay, and just a quick take on your perspective about Simba and Yanga. There's been this tendency of changing head coaches. You know, one comes in for a very short period of time and then they leave. Another one comes in. Does that create a bit of inconsistency when it comes to the team chemistry? What are your views on that? Is it a right move, or does it come at a cost?
No. So I agree with you, because you see, these are big pressure jobs because of the fans. And the moment the club does not do well, somebody has to take the brunt, either the leaders or the players or the coach. But unfortunately, it is the coach that is on fire first. Now, my view is no. My view is that if you have a good coach, you have a plan and a vision, we need to stick to the coach as long as we have trust in him. So I employed Fadlu, you know, and I like the coach. But unfortunately, also, there is one that you fire, in which 90% of the time, you know, Simba fires. But sometimes somebody gets a better, you know, opportunity. But currently with Coach Steve, I think he's brilliant. And I think that he's come here long term. And that's why we picked him. Because before that, he was 8 years with Stellenbosch. So he's a man who's a man of vision, a man of discipline, a man of good insight, and a clear thinker. So we believe that we want to hold on to him for the medium term and the long term.
Okay, what would success look like for the 2026-2027 season? Winning the local league or Champions League?
If I had a choice, if I had to make one choice, I would rather win the Champions League.
Okay, absolutely. Now, final question on the Mohammed Dewji Foundation. You're a philanthropist. The investments that you've made across different sectors have also necessitated the CSR initiatives, and that's done under the foundation. How do you measure success through the philanthropic work that you do? And what has been your biggest milestone as far as helping the East African community so far?
So the foundation is first, you have to understand a little bit of history. In 2014, I signed a giving pledge. It's an initiative by Bill Gates and Warren Buffett that ultra wealthy people in the world pledge 50% of their wealth during their lifetime or after they die to philanthropy, one. Two, philanthropy has been very important to my life. That was the reason I went to run for parliament in the first place. And there's a story. When I went to parliament, when I went to Singida, I saw people drinking yellow water, kids getting waterborne diseases, and children dying. That is what made me go to Singida, so that I could do development work. And 2014-15, I quit politics, and I realized I don't need to be in politics to do good. So we started off in a good footing as far as the foundation is concerned. The foundation focuses on many pillars. We do education, where we give scholarships to children who are intelligent, who potentially have failed to get loans from the loan board or do not have rich parents. So we give 100% scholarship for the tenure of the time they're in university. And in the end, we make sure, coming to your question, that 96% of them who graduate have jobs and have a better life. We do investment in water accessibility. We do investments in healthcare. You know, some things you can measure, some things you can't. If today we've been supporting Tumaini La Maisha, which is helping children with cancer. Now, I remember 10 years ago when we were supporting them, 8 out of 10 children were dying. Today, that number has come to 4 out of 10. Now, if you were to ask me how do I value that, I mean, I cannot value someone's life, because if you see our motto at Mohammed Dewji Foundation, a life equals to life, whether a child is a white child or an African child, whether he's in New York or he's in Kigoma, life equals to life. But coming back to measurement, I want to speak to you about something that we've been doing over the last 3 years, which is seeing is believing. We're restoring vision to Tanzanians. Now, a simple thing like cataract, where people cannot see, you fix their vision and then they can see. So while there was a presentation in the board a few years ago and they told me they want to get into this space, and I knew of the space because I was doing these cataract operations when I was in Singida. So the first year they did 3,000, 5,000. This year, with God's will, we'll reach 10,000 operations. When I asked them that how many operations are being done in this country, so government, civil service, NGOs, Rotary, Lions Club, religious organization, the total operations that have been done in this country are 25,000. So one and foremost, MDF, which is the Mohammed Dewji Foundation, is going to do 10,000 out of the 25,000, which is great. But my second question was that how many people require cataract surgeries? The number was crazy. 725,000 people who have problem seeing in this country. Then I asked them a further question, that what is the economic impact when you do or restore vision for someone? What is the economic impact? Do you know, and on average, people who have cataract in Tanzania are 48 years old. That's point number one. So when they cannot see, they become dependent on their wives or people in the family. If they need food, someone has to bring food for them. If they wanted to go to the bathroom, somebody needs to go. So when you fix one person's eye, you're going to increase 28% of the disposable income of 2. Now, at an average, in Tanzania, per capita income is $1,000 a year. Now, if it's $1,000 a year, and if you're going to increase 28%, that means $280 per one person, plus another $280 for another person. So you're talking about $560 you're going to increase to the income of the household. Now, think, if, and this is our vision, and I've told them that I want to make a commitment. Each operation will cost us $100. So to fix this problem in Tanzania, we need $72.5 million. So I told my board, and I've given them a challenge, that I am ready to spend $72.5 million. This is 170 billion shillings. But look at the return now. Now, if you were to do a math that if you fix someone's eye at 48, he's not going to benefit 1 year. He's going to benefit for 10 years. So in perpetuation. So if you do the math on the per capita income and the disposable income growth of 26 or 28%, by injecting $72 million, the economic value is $4 billion to the Tanzanian GDP. And this is how you measure. Where is it where you can really invest such little money and the impact you can get for people is so high?
Okay, so now the final question. We've talked about sports, we've talked about the foundation. What is Mo Dewji's next biggest investment?
Oh my God! This is we are now the company has grown beyond borders, not only in Africa but all over the world. Maybe high level, we are focusing on technology and a lot of fintech and payment gateways. This is one silo. Second silo, we're focusing on extractives. Third silo, we are focusing on infrastructure, data centers. Fourth, we are focusing on food security and agriculture. So these are the four main pillars of METL Group's global expansion vision.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You were with me, Mpoki Thompson, for the Citizen Exclusive. We were with an African investor, philanthropist, but also a sports persona who's invested heavily in Simba. Until next time, that is a wrap.